Good afternoon. This is the Board of County Commissioners meeting. It is 2:01 p.m. It is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. I'm Carolina Mejia. I'm the chair of the board. I'm joined by Vice Chair Ty Menser to my right, and to my left is Commissioner Gary Edwards. Also joining us is County Manager Ramiro Chavez, Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell, and Clerk of the Board Jamie Caldwell. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Menser.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next, Vice Chair Menser, would you like to do a land acknowledgement, sir?
Yes, Madam Chair. We would also like to start today with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge and thank the Indigenous Salish peoples whose elders and ancestors have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today. Specifically, the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. Truth and acknowledgement are critical to building mutual respect and connection across all barriers of heritage and difference. The purpose of this acknowledgement is to disrupt ongoing erasure of injustices done and to remember history as a stepping stone towards healing.
Thank you, sir. Next is the approval of the Tuesday, September 13th, 2022 agenda. Is there a motion?
I move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, September 13th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Our next item is the approval of the board meeting minutes from August 30th, 2022.
I move approval of board meeting minutes from August 30th, 2022.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menser?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. I just want the public to note that the meeting for next week, September 20th, has been canceled. There were only a couple of items that have been moved to this week's agenda, to the agenda for today. If the public would like to know more, we discussed this at agenda setting work session this morning. With that, we have two presentations today. The first one is from Auditor Hall, and it's the Proclamation for National Voter Registration Day. Mary? Mary, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to thank you for recognizing National Voter Registration Day. You know, voting is the cornerstone of our democracy, but if you're not registered, of course, you can't vote. Currently, we have 194,000 registered voters in Thurston County. And, you know, our biggest goal is voter registration to reach young people, because only about 70% of the 18 to 24-year-olds are registered to vote in Thurston County. So the good news is voter registration has never been easier. We now have same-day voter registration. They can come into our office up until 8 p.m. on election day. And what was very exciting this year is, for the first time, voters who turned 18 before the general election could actually vote in the primary. And this group of voters was actually had higher turnout than those folks in the 18 to 24-year-old range or the 25 to 34-year-old range. So we're making really good progress. This is the 9th National Voter Registration Day in Thurston County, so thank you for recognizing it. And you know, your efforts really help us increase awareness of the importance of registering and participating in our democratic process. And that's important now more than ever. So if there are people in the audience that are not registered, it's very simple. All you need to do is go to votewa.gov and follow the prompts you'll need a driver's license number or the last four of your social security number, but you can do it all online. So thanks again for your support and partnership on this and so many other issues.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Edwards, any comments?
I just want to tell Mary, thank you for bringing this up and how important it really is that everybody vote.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
You know, I don't know if Mary even knows this or not, but Sam's in the audience here. Did you know that, Mary, that our longtime auditor, Sam Reed's with us for this
I did not
proclamation?
know that.
Yes.
Hello, Sam.
He's here and ought to be duly recognized because
That's great.
he was down there a long time pushing that.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, way back when.
Vice Chair Menser?
Oh, no, just thank you, Mary. We really appreciate the work that you do, and we're very proud of our election system in Thurston County, and you're the linchpin of that. So thank you for everything you do to give us that confidence to be able to look the community in the eye and say your elections are safe and secure, and you know, hopefully we'll get back over 200,000 registered voters for this election.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, I have an amazing team. They're terrific and very dedicated.
Yes, you know, I'll just echo kind of what my colleagues here said. And if you haven't gone to the ballot processing center, I invite the public really, and I guess I'm overstepping.
No, you're not.
But, you know, I invite them to really see that operation because it really is just a top class operation. I'm continuously impressed by, you know, the work that is being done there. With that, sir, I'm ready for a proclamation.
Okay. Thurston County Proclamation, National Voter Registration Day. Whereas registering to vote empowers eligible citizens to exercise their right to vote on Election Day. And whereas Thurston County is committed to strengthening democracy by encouraging voter registration and increasing participation in all elections. And whereas civic-minded people and organizations have collaborated to establish September 20th, 2022 as National Voter Registration Day. And whereas the goal for the 2022 National Voter Registration Day is to create awareness of elections and motivate eligible citizens to vote in coming months. And whereas the strength of our democracy depends on the willingness of our citizens to participate by choosing the people who will lead us and by voicing their opinions on important matters that will come before the voters on Election Day. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims September 20th, 2022 as National Voter Registration Day in Thurston County and encourages all eligible county residents to register to vote. Adopted this 13th day of September 2022 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, with that, we have a second proclamation, and this is from the Commissioner's Office, and it was a request, and it's the Kiwanis Club of Olympia Proclamation. And so I would invite Sam Reed to talk to us a little bit more about Kiwanis and why this is a special year.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. The Olympic Kiwanis Club was founded September 15, 2021. So we're actually 101 years old this week, but we had to postpone our celebration last year because of COVID. The club has been deeply involved with the county from its very inception. They talked about the county fair. We helped identify the indigent. We helped provide food, and to this day, 24,000 pounds of fresh vegetables is provided by the Olympic Kiwanis Club through its gardens. We provide firewood for homes that have no other source of heating, and most of it goes to people in the rural areas of the county. 1/2 of the elected officials of Thurston County are members of the Olympia Kiwanis Club, which we're very proud of. And we did things like back in the Depression, the United States Congress passed an act for the New Deal that would provide jobs and job opportunities for 18 to 24-year-olds. but they had no staff to do it. So it was the Olympia Kiwanis Club who stepped in and provided all that support here in Thurston County and was highly successful. And they, throughout World War II, all the way through, this has been a club that has served this community well. And I appreciate the Board of County Commissioners passing this proclamation in honor of the Olympia Kiwanis Club. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Comments from commissioners? Commissioner Edwards?
Oh, I'm looking forward to this proclamation because Sam's been a member of the Olympia Kiwanis Club for like ever. Because I've been there more than 30 years, and you were already an old-timer. So I would certainly like to echo the good work that the club does and this recognition of 101 years. So thank you very much for your leadership in the Kiwanis Club, Sam. And I can't begin to list all of the good things that the club does for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Chair Menser?
Thank you for being here, Sam. Kiwanis, I didn't grow up in this community, but in the community I did grow up, Kiwanis was very active and involved in all sorts of things. I believe it was spelling bees and scholarships for deserving high school students, and it was just a great service organization. So not surprising to hear what you guys have been able to accomplish here in Thurston County. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm a newly inducted member of Kiwanis, and you know, I was, as our time has spread thin, I was looking for an organization that I, you know, could really believe in and could dedicate my time with. And after researching, this one was kind of what fit, right? Especially with their focus on children. As you see, my daughter's here joining me today, and you know, it's an exciting time to be celebrating this organization that has done so much for this community for such a long time. So with that being said, I'm ready for a proclamation, sir.
Thurston County Proclamation, Kiwanis Club of Olympia Day. Whereas Kiwanis International is one of the largest service organizations in the world, with more than 551,000 members of all ages and abilities in more than 80 nations. And whereas the members of Kiwanis Club of Olympia are devoted to improving the world, one child and one community at a time, by seeking primacy to the human and spiritual rather than the material values of life. And whereas, in addition to improving the lives of children in Thurston County and in communities around the world, Kiwanis Club members promote the development of community leaders, positive role models, intercultural understanding and cooperation, and opportunities for fellowship, personal growth, professional development, and community service. And whereas the first Kiwanis Club started its service in Detroit, Michigan, USA in 1915. And whereas the service provided by the Kiwanis Club of Olympia will continue to have a positive impact on our community and citizens. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners hereby proclaims September 15th, 2022 as the Kiwanis Club of Olympia Day, and hereby calls upon all citizens of Thurston County thereof to render support to the members of this organization and to make themselves aware of Kiwanis International and the Kiwanis Club of Olympia, whose members are providing meaningful service to children in our community. Adopted this day, 13th day of September 2022 by the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to present. Better get a picture of this.
Thanks very much.
Hey, Sam, I'm going to put my hat on this picture so they don't mix us up.
Okay.
We're covering every generation on this board.
Right. Former County Commissioner Karen Fraser was going to join me for this today, and sorry she missed it because she thought she was going to be able to be here. But
Yeah, also a long time member.
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
See you Thursday night.
Yeah.
Your first.
Okay, that will conclude our presentations for today. Next is an opportunity for the public to address the board. The Board of Thurston County Commissioners welcomes comments from the public. However, there are some guidelines governing such comments to ensure they are appropriate and do not take the advantage that most meetings are televised. The general speaking guidelines are as follows. Please introduce yourself, including the address you reside in the county. Please address the board, not the audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones for those members here in the boardroom. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes to address the board. Meeting attendees cannot donate their speaking time to another person. No comments that are lewd and offensive, inflammatory, hateful, defamatory, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outburst of any kind. No comments that are commercial in nature, such as promotion of a for-profit business. All materials provided to the county may be considered public records, subject to public release upon request, pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. No remarks about pending land use permits or similar matters that could eventually come before the board on appeal, and no electioneering. Thank you so much for your cooperation. We will start with the members who have signed up. If you did not sign up, I will call on after and make sure that there's not anyone else who would like to provide public testimony, and then we will be moving to the members of the public who are joining us via Zoom. And the county manager will help me call out those names. So the first person that I have signed up is Vivian Eason.
I'm Vivian Eason. I live at 10104 Albany Place Southwest in Rochester, Washington. And I'm here today to talk about a concern that I discovered last week about a decision made by the county to no longer use a social media platform called Nextdoor. At least that's what I was told by emergency management. Nextdoor reaches about 80,000 people in Thurston County. And I've used that, as you know, I worked for Thurston County Emergency Management for almost 16 years working with the public. And we use that platform for many disasters. You can send alerts on it. It's used by other counties in the state of Washington. It's used by Washington State Emergency Management. It's used by one of the groups in Thurston County, either, I'm not sure if it's public health. They have a different title. They don't classify it as theirs, but it's a Thurston County group that uses it from Thurston County government. And the reason I was concerned is because I'm on Nextdoor with my neighborhood, and we hadn't seen anything for months on Nextdoor. And I had someone ask me about it, and I said, you know, I haven't seen anything either from Thurston County Emergency Management. We've had a couple fires, and then we had the, oh my gosh, the warning, the red flag warning. And so I called and asked Thurston County Emergency Management. They said it had just been briefed in their staff meeting that Thurston County no longer wanted them to use Nextdoor. And I know that was an issue that I had with a specific employee, that they didn't want me to use Nextdoor because it could not be backed up on Archive Social. The difference with Nextdoor is that a private social media, so a lot of people join Nextdoor because they don't want to be on Facebook. They can't be spammed, they can't be found by other people. It's totally private. So I contacted at the time, there was concerns about archiving. So what I did is whenever you go in and post on Nextdoor, it'll say, do you want to post this to Twitter or Facebook? So you can actually post that you've posted on Nextdoor. It'll share what you've posted. And so it was getting backed up that way. But also you can go in either monthly or whatever I think it should be up to the department how they handle it, but it can be backed up and nothing is ever taken off. They don't go through and monitor like Facebook does. And what happens with Facebook is I follow Thurston County Emergency Management because it's my favorite department in the county, but I don't see their posts because of the algorithms in Facebook. And so Nextdoor, I see everything that comes in through Nextdoor, especially Thurston County because they can post county-wide. But we used it during the Nisqually floods. We could pick out neighborhoods. You can map it in, pick out neighborhoods that are in that area. We used it for Summit Lake during the toxic algae, and we used it during the fires. You can also send, when we would send alerts, I would go in and copy those alerts into next door because we have very few people signed up for the alert system in Thurston County. Even though we tried and tried, there was, I think, about 13,000. So you're talking about 80,000 people that you can reach for county business. And so that was a concern of mine, and I was pretty upset about it. I waited a while before I talked about it. And I've left a message for Peter Toscani for him to talk to me. And I planned on following up with a letter, but time's just gotten away from me, and I'm not going to be available the next 2 weeks to come in. But it's just something that's near and dear to my heart, and it's something I know that my coworkers will tell you I'm very passionate about making sure the community is aware of what's going on in the community. And I think when we have an opportunity to serve the community in a free platform, that should be something that is decided on by the manager of that department or the director of that department, not by other staff in the county. And that's all I had, and I would like follow-up to know what happens with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, I have Ursula Euler.
Tall. Microphone is too tall. Well, good afternoon. My name is Ursula Euler. I live at 10448 Kristen Court Southwest in rural Thurston County. I have been referred to as the airport lady once, a long time ago, and I sort of like that because I'm here to talk to you about aviation and airports. I have been active in this before, and you may have seen me right up there a couple of times before. But I thought I'd come in person today, so you actually see me. I'm a real person, what I look like. I felt it was important to come today because I think in the meantime, you know that WashDOT and its Commercial Aviation Commission, I'm just gonna, from here on out, for the rest of my few minutes, I'll talk about it as WashDOT, but it's really WashDOT Aviation Division. I don't know anything else about the rest of WashDOT, but it's really WashDOT and its Commercial Aviation Commission who's doing this work. And as you know, there are 10 sites now that have been designated as potential sites for a greenfield airport. On October 15th, next month, they're supposed to suggest 2. They're supposed to whittle it down to 2. Last February 15th, they actually were supposed by the law that enables them to propose possibilities of 6 sites, which they did not. They proposed a list of 6 airports, but they were not greenfield sites. So they missed that deadline. Now there are 10 on the table. Oh, and by the way, 3 of those are actually in King County or near the Air Force and Army site. So they're actually by law not a valid option. You can see how confusing that gets. And I have been an observer now for over 2 years. I've gone to every meeting. It's nice, it's virtual. I don't need to drive anywhere. I have attended every meeting except one for 2 years. And the process, unless you are really in the meetings and listen to the conversations, is very difficult to assess, very confusing, a bit of smoke and mirrors. I put myself a little picture of smoke and mirrors on here. And therefore, I've decided to come today and say to you, it would really be helpful, I think, for your benefit and for the community's benefit, to get with people like myself who have observed these conversations and were there. There are just a few, myself and a few others, to have a meeting with all of us, because there are some unique opportunities that sprang out of those meetings. You wouldn't know about them unless you or your staff had attended. And there are very valid concerns. There are additional communications and information you are getting if you are going through WashDOT, even the Puget Regional Planning Council or the TRPC. You're getting the official information line from WashDOT. There is a whole bunch of information missing. And I have access to that information. I'm willing to share. I have researched it. It's valid. It is. It is well researched, and I just really am here today to say to you, it might really be helpful if you met in person for a little more than 3 minutes or 4 minutes with some members from the community who are very well informed, because there are valuable steps that could be taken. Thank you.
Ma'am, there is information on our website related to the executive assistants for each of the commissioners, and they will be more than happy to schedule meetings with each commissioner if that's your desire. So I will encourage you to reach out to each of the assistants, and they will work within their schedules to schedule a meeting if you like.
It's just I have tried that already like a year ago, and I got no response. So
Well, Michelle,
I
we'll
hope,
follow up with you.
now that you meet me, that it really would be valuable. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would at least like to get a phone number or some mechanism that I can get in touch with you, because
I believe the information is on the sign-up sheet.
okay. The phone number's on there?
Yeah, I left my email.
Just her email.
You are certainly welcome to my phone number.
I need a phone number. I'm not an email person.
Perfect.
How about if you just write it down? Please don't state that in
Yeah, we didn't want you
Yeah,
to
I
say
won't
it
say
in
it
public.
now, yeah.
Just
Thank you.
give us a phone number on a written piece of paper. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
I believe there's probably been a mistake because I know all three of us
Yeah.
try to get back.
Right.
So.
Yeah, we'll follow up with you, ma'am.
Okay. Would any other member of the public who's here like to provide? It's just, no? Okay.
I'd just like to have an acknowledgement on your consent agenda. Is your, for consideration, the appointment of Ms. Maria Williams to the Board of Health, and she's in the boardroom today.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Would you like to move to?
yes, I'll move to the Zoom meeting, and I will call your name based on the Zoom screen that the order that I have in my Zoom screen. But first, I would like to give the floor to Mayor Sullivan from the City of Tumwater. Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you, Commissioners, and good afternoon. I'm Debbie Sullivan, Mayor of the City of Tumwater. My address is 555 Israel Road Southwest in Tumwater. Thank you for the opportunity to speak in support of your agenda item 5A, which would set a public hearing for the suspension of the operations of the Hopkins Drainage District. Along with private parties, the city has previously submitted written comments requesting the suspension of the district operations. This hearing would be an important step in that direction. Drainage districts served as a valuable role in rural areas of the state where farmers use the districts as a way of working together to drain fields and improve the vitality of fields for agriculture. On the fringes of urban areas, such as where the subject district is located, a district isn't equipped to address the challenges or responsibilities of management. They are a government agency that must follow all complexities of property administration, bidding, reporting, and financial management. We've seen over the years the challenges play out for this district. Decades of inadequate maintenance of the facility, concerns expressed by the state auditor for compliance with state laws on financial reporting and management, inability to adequately or timely produce public records, apparent violation of Public Open Meetings Act by conducting illegal meetings and failing to keep proper meeting minutes, and substantially attempting to change property owners outside the district with complete insufficient documentation contrary to City of Tumwater engineering analysis. Then comes the most recent issue of clearing the grass from the ditch using explosives, potential violation of the Endangered Species Act, critical areas regulations, and SEPA requirements. The suspension of the district would have this area be served by the county stormwater utility, a part of the county's excellent public works department. They would provide maintenance and technical staff, equipment, funding to properly address the stormwater issues in this area. I asked that the commissioners to schedule the hearing to consider the suspension of the district, after which I would ask, and we would ask, to take the appropriate action to suspend the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, I have Ms. Mary Ramsen. Go ahead, ma'am, you have 4 minutes. You're on mute. If you can unmute yourself, that will be good. You're still on mute. We cannot hear you. You is still on mute. I think you were unmuted for a second.
Can we ask to unmute because then the public?
Can you? She has to control that. I believe that we can only.
Can you hear me?
There you go. You're
All right. Thank you.
You have 4 minutes, man. Go ahead.
Okay. I'm Mary Abramson, 7833 Burial Court, Olympia, Washington. As you can see, sometimes I dress up as Lady Liberty and I carry the Declaration of Independence because our freedom and our liberty worldwide is at threat. And if our mainstream media were not being controlled by the World Economic Forum, you would all know the truth of what's happening. I sent to you a video of what I feel is one of the greatest speeches by a woman ever. Her name is Vera Shero. She's a Holocaust survivor, and she just spoke at the 75th anniversary of the Nuremberg Code in Germany. She shows the parallels of Nazi Germany and what is happening, especially the last 2 years with all the mandates and the COVID vaccines. She points out that the final solution didn't start until 1944, but Hitler came in 1933, and it took 9 years to progressively take down legal, civil, and moral, and all the personal liberties of the people in Germany before they brought in this final solution with fear-mongering. And there's a lot of fear-mongering in now of people, do you have a vaccine or do you not have the vaccine, and so forth. We have got to wake up and understand what is really going on here, because we're moving into a takeover by the World Economic Forum, who controls the UN and the World Health Organization. I have sent you videos. I'm asking you as leaders to be informed and be aware. This is just maybe one of more and more man-made viruses that are going to be unleashed. This group, just like the Nazis, behind it was eugenics, which is a pseudoscience that is behind and the root of all genocide. Before they took out, the goal was 11 million, all the Jews in Europe. They succeeded with 6 million. This time they want to take out 7 billion humans on this planet because we are useless. And if you even listen to the statements coming out of the World Economic Forum, they actually say it, that we now have control of the human body with genetic engineering, which is what these vaccines are. Please become informed. You are our 3 leaders, plus our sheriff. Our governor is part of the World Economic Forum. He was trained by them, as are many governors and politicians in our country.
30
We're a
seconds.
small community, but we
30
must
seconds.
wake up to what is happening. Please become informed. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, I have Mr. Jeffrey Myers. Go ahead, sir. You have 4 minutes.
I'm just here to support. My name's Jeff Myers. I'm an attorney representing the city of Tumwater. I'm at 2674 R.W. Johnson Boulevard. I'm just here to echo what Mayor Sullivan brought forward to you concerning agenda item 5A and the Hopkins Drainage District. We ask that you schedule that hearing as soon as possible, as the district is currently intending to proceed with essentially annexing the entire preserve neighborhood and some 600 properties, and doing so without any engineering evidence to support them. We think that's a reckless action on the part of the district, and we ask that you proceed with that. The district is planning on doing that on September 24th, so the soonest you can act, the better. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Robert Smith. Mr. Robert Smith, would you like to provide testimony this afternoon?
Good afternoon. I'm here but to be a fly on the wall today, but I do thank you all for your service.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Mr. Michael Woodland.
Hi, my name is Mike Woodland. I live at 9136 Astor Street in Tumwater, and I would like to see the ditch commission looked at, because I feel the way they operate is unbelievable. They once tried to have a Senate bill in which they were going to ask you for 9 years of payments in advance. And I just feel the way they operate is just outrageous and abusive. And I'm asking you for your help on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, I have Ms. Brianna Fuller.
Sorry, no, I'm just here to listen today.
Thank you. And that will conclude public testimony, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you to all those members who provided public testimony today. Next, we have a county manager's update.
I don't have any particular updates, so they're again acknowledging Ms. Maria Williams. She's present here, and your consent agenda is to appoint her as the new Board of Health member.
Would you like to cover the other 2 members who couldn't be here
Yes,
today?
and also on your consent agenda, you have for your consideration appointment of Ms. Beth Harvey to the Board of Health again under Category 1. Ms. Maria Williams is to the Board of Health again under Category 2. And also the next appointment is Ms. Lynn Nelson to the Board of Health again under Category 3. Each of those categories are clearly defined in the state law, and also is clearly defined in your ordinance creating and expanding the Board of Health. All 3 appointments, if the board approves, have an expiration date of September 13, 2025, and that will be a 3-year term.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we will move on to consent items unless anyone has any comments or questions. County
I would just make a comment for the public that it was quite a tussle to finally settle on those applicants that put in. So thank you very much. And we didn't have room for everybody, so it was a tussle. And the board spent a considerable amount of time reviewing applicants.
It was a small number, but a high quality, so
Yes.
it made for quite a difficult decision.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to item 3, which is consent items A through G. Is there a motion?
I move to approve consent items 3A through 3G.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. This is a non-debatable motion. I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to department items. First items, it's 4A and 4B. They're both voucher list. Make that correction. It's listed as. Item 4A is the approval of the voucher list for the week of August 8th, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for your consideration for you to approve the voucher list of the week of August 8, 2022 for a combined amount of $1,994,792.41. The reason as to why you have this particular item as a department item as opposed to in the consent agenda, as traditionally is because on pages 43 and 47 are payments related to the atrium. That will be the 3,000 Pacific in the amount of $1,934.50.
Okay. Any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, I'm not going to debate the topic. Thank you very much, sir.
Commissioner Menzer, any questions?
Nope.
Okay. With that, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the voucher list for the week of August 8th, 2022 for a combined amount of $1,994,792.41.
I'll go ahead and second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Next is item 4B, the approval of the voucher list for the week of August 15th, 2022.
Similar to the previous item, Madam Chair, for your considerations for approval, the voucher list for the week of August 15, 2022 for a combined amount of $6,387,416.71. Again, this item is for your consideration to exercise your individual votes, because on page 39, there is a payment related to the atrium for $341.68.
Any questions?
No questions, ma'am.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the voucher list for the week of August 15th, 2022 for a combined amount of $6,387,416.71.
I'll go ahead and second. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Nay.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to the Commissioner's Office, item 5A is set up public hearing, suspension of the operations of the Hopkins Drainage District.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will try to be brief on this presentation as most of the conversation occurred this morning. So I will encourage the public to watch the agenda setting, which I describe I believe, to a great extent, these particular items. But in gist, for your consideration is to set a public hearing where you will be receiving public testimony for the related to the suspension of the operations of the Hopkins Drainage District. And this is under RCW 85.38220. And in part, this RCW reads as follows. Any special district may have its operations suspended as provided in this section. The process of suspension of a special district operations may be initiated by 3 main elements, no all-inclusive. 1 is the adoption of a resolution proposing such action by the governing body of the special district. That is not the case that applies today. Number 2 is the filing of a petition proposing such action within the county legislative authority of the county in which all of the largest portions of the special district is located. That also is not applicable to this action. Number 3, the adoption of a resolution proposing such actions by the county legislative authority of the county in which all of the largest portions of the special district is located. and this is the item in which you may exercise your action to set a public hearing. The public hearing of the proposed action shall be held by the county legislative authority, in which it shall inquire into whether such action is in the public interest. Notice of the public hearing shall be published in the newspaper of general circulation in the special district, posted at least in 4 locations in the special district to attract attention of the public, and mailed to the members of the governing body of the special use district as to the time and place of the public hearing. After the public hearing, the county legislative authority, you, may adopt a resolution suspending the operations of a special district if it finds such suspension is in the public interest. This particular item for your consideration, the suspension, doesn't have a time limit, and you have the ability to reinstate the operations of the special use district if the decision is to suspend it at a later date, as long as you find, again, it is in the public interest to reinstate the operations of the district. There is a lot of history on this particular item, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through that if the board requires me to do so. But again, I will encourage the members of the public to watch the agenda setting this morning, where the board heard in more detail the reasonings in the background related to this particular action. So as a result, I'm requesting the board to set the public hearing for October 18th, 2022 at 3:30 in the afternoon, or as soon as the matter may be heard, in room 280 for you to consider this particular resolution. Questions?
Questions? Commissioner Edwards?
I don't know if I have questions per se, but depending on what my seatmates say about this, but as we move into an agenda for that day, because it's on a Tuesday, right? I'm hoping we won't have too heavy of an agenda, so that, because I'm just thinking there's going to be quite a bit of participation, and I know we take a break partway through our agenda, and that would be more convenient for citizens that are coming in for the agenda issue versus maybe the district issue. So I'm just making that suggestion.
No, that's good observation, sir, and we'll make sure that we have a manageable agenda so you can get to the public hearing at 3:30.
I'd say that's warranted based on the 9 hours of public comment that was provided to the ditch district directly. It's likely to be a similar level of interest.
I think we agree.
Okay. So with that being said, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to set a public hearing for October 18th, 2022 at 3:30 p.m. or soon thereafter, as the matter may be heard, to take public testimony on a proposed resolution to suspend the operations of the Hopkins Drainage District in accordance with RCW 8538-220.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to item 5B, joint request for proposals for designated service provider services.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Robin Campbell, Assistant County Manager, here to request approval from the board to enter into a joint request for proposals for a service provider for media services for Thurston County. Thurston County has entered into an agreement with the cities of Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater to issue an RFP for audiovisual services, special projects, and public education government access for our media needs. And by that, I mean things like broadcasting this meeting and other programs that the county broadcasts. So the current contract expires at the end of this year. So we are seeking approval of the board to issue the RFP It would go out, I believe, tomorrow to bid, and we would select a contractor based on the many services that they may propose. And we've had our current contract for many years. I think we last renewed it in 2017. And technology has changed quite a bit, so we feel it's important to go out and see what's available to our jurisdictions.
Okay, any questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. We've had quite a few discussions over this months.
Commissioner Menzer?
Nothing today. Thank you.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve the issuance of a joint request for proposals with the cities of Olympia, Lacey, and Tumwater to solicit proposals to enter into separate contracts with a designated services provider for audiovisual services for county meetings, special projects, and PEG activities, which stands for Public Education and Government.
Okay,
Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Moving on to community planning and economic development, item 6A, request for proposals, permitting fee cost and comparison study. And Jeremy Davis, our operations manager, will be reporting on this.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Jeremy Davis, Thurston County Community Planning and Economic Development. Today I'm here to request the board authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to issue a request for proposals to perform a cost and comparison study on Thurston County's land use permitting fees. This study would be on behalf of the Departments of Public Works, Public Health and Social Services, and Community Planning and Economic Development. We'll be looking for proposals to analyze our current rate structure for various types of land use and permitting fees like building, planning, septic, drinking water service, and other such permits. The selected company would also be expected to assist the county on any public outreach with this, any required public hearings, and on public meetings. We're estimating the expected value of the contract to be between $150,000 and $200,000. As always, we may receive proposals that are higher than that. We don't know. The last time we conducted a cost of comparison study was over 14 or 15 years ago, so it's been quite some time. With this particular RFP, we would want to post this on September 16th if approved and close this on October 21st. We anticipate an award date of December 9th, 2022, and we'll start working with them immediately after that. We're expecting the final study to be completed by May 31st, 2023, in time for the biennial budget discussions next year. The period of performance for the contract would be December 31st, 2023. And again, that's to provide support to the county as we move through the budget process to answer any questions the commissioners may have in that process. This particular contract would be funded by about $290,000 that's split amongst the three departments, with $150,000 coming from CPED, $80,000 coming from Public Health and Social Services, and $60,000 from Public Works Engineering Services. We did spend $10,000 last year, if you remember, in a cost and comparison survey where we had consultants go out and look at different types of permits to give us an idea of where we were at compared to other jurisdictions. This will, of course, be a much more in-depth study looking at all aspects of our permitting and everything that makes up the costs on that. And we'll also be looking at other jurisdictions to see how they fund permitting departments. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the board may have on this.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No, ma'am. Very good description, Jeremy. Thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Menzer?
Jeremy, I got lost with the two numbers. You said you're expecting 150 to 200,000, but then you said 290,000. What's that extra money for?
Yeah, so sir, that's exactly what's budgeted for this right now. We don't know how much it's really going to cost, and so that's how much the department's budgeted. We don't expect it to cost that much, and we're hoping, of course, that it does not. We wanted to make sure have the appropriate appropriation just in case it does go above 200,000.
Okay, so we would see let's say the proposal came in at 250. Mm-hmm. You've got budget authority for that, but the commissioners would still see that proposal and have to authorize the contract.
Yes, sir. We'll be bringing the contract back for final board consideration, hopefully by December 9th. The board always gets the final say on those. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay,
Good.
I'm ready for a motion.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to issue a request for proposals for a permitting cost and comparison study.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? I guess I'll just say that I'm really excited about this, that we're really starting this. I think it's been a long time that it's been requested. So I think this and, you know, streamlining our process that started in September is definitely a great way. And it shows, you know, how community planning and economic development has been hearing from our community partners and listening to their concerns about not only our timelines, but also our fee structure. And so this is just another step in kind of getting more information on that and how we compare. With that, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item is item 6B. It's a grant agreement from Department of Ecology, stream low restoration funding.
Brad Murphy is going to cover this item.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brad.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm Brad Murphy, a Senior Planner with Community Planning and Economic Development. Today's item is Thurston County was awarded a stream flow restoration and enhancement grant from the Department of Ecology in the amount of $241,408. The work proposed is to conduct a feasibility study on numerous sites in the Nisqually Watershed to determine their suitability to place a managed aquifer recharge facility. The grant aims to improve water quality and quantity in the Nisqually Watershed, RIA 11, which will support actions and strategies outlined in the Watershed Management Plan, the Stream Flow Restoration Planning Process, and continued compliance with RCW 9094. 9094 was passed by the state legislature, ESB 6091, and became effective on January 19th of 2018. This legislation was developed in response to the Hearst decision by the state Supreme Court, explicitly authorizing local jurisdictions to continue permitting development that relies on domestic groundwater withdrawals exempt from state water permitting for the period until a plan is approved to mitigate for the impacts of those withdrawals on stream flows within specific watersheds. In 2019, an addendum to the Nisqually Watershed Management Plan was reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners and submitted to the Department of Ecology, who then approved the plan. This item fulfills strategic initiative number 7 to balance development with the preservation of the county's rural character, natural areas, and open spaces. And I'd be happy to take any questions if you have any.
Questions? Commissioner Edwards?
No questions. Good job.
Commissioner Menzer?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion.
I move to approve a grant agreement with the Department of Ecology for the stream flow restoration and enhancement funding offer of $241,408 and authorize the Director of Community Planning and Economic Development to execute the agreement, and any future amendments do not exceed 10% of the original budget.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Menzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, emergency services, item 7A. And from what I've heard is that Ben Miller Todd did the acronym for this. Is that correct? It's Department of Ecology Grant Agreement number CEAFCAAP-TCE MMD-00035.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You did a wonderful job with that, and I'll take it from here. Good afternoon. My name is Ben Miller Todd. I'm the Interim Assistant Director for Emergency Services. We were made aware of a Department of Ecology Flood Assistance Account Program emergency grant for the flooding that we had in January of 2020. The grant agreement provides funding to support emergency response to severe flooding along the Chehalis, Black, and Skookumchuck rivers. along the time period of late December to early January 2022. Some of the protective measures that this is helping to cover would be ECC emergency coordination, distribution of water quality tests and results by Thurston County Public Health and Social Services, Environmental Health Division, as well as Public Works debris removal vouchers that were offered up to those affected residents, and also additional hours provided at the drop boxes in Rainier and Rochester. The grant agreement amount is for $67,500, and this covers $61,500 of emergency efforts that were provided that were listed above, as well as $6,000 for shed demolition that was involved with just a destroyed shed along the Black River. The grant does require a match of 20%, so a 20% match by Thurston County that we will be able, that are incorporated in those eligible items. The expenditure appropriation is currently in the 2022 budget, and we are requesting approval for this grant agreement.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, thank you.
Questions, Commissioner Munzer?
No.
Okay, I'm ready for a motion, sir.
I move to approve the Department of Ecology Flood Assistance Account Program Emergency Grant Agreement, number as identified by Madam Chair, for the period of January 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, for a total of $67,500, and authorize the Interim Director of Emergency Services to sign the agreement and any amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Any discussion?
No, ma'am.
Nope.
You have an attorney to find a way around it.
Thank you very much.
Innovative.
Okay, I'll call for the vote.
Commissioner Edwards?
Aye.
Commissioner Munzer?
Aye.
Commissioner Mejia?
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on to our standing items. Item 8A, Commissioners will report on board work sessions and assigned committee meetings, providing updates on actions taken as well as upcoming issues. Commissioner Edwards, we will start with you, sir.
Well, let's see. I attended the retirement of Julia Carruth for 38 years. And boy, that's a pretty long run, 38 years with the county. So I think she really needs to be recognized for that service. Awesome. I did an interview with TVW, reference Capitol Lake and the upcoming decisions on the Deschutes estuary. The Fair Board, nothing exceptional, but kind of wondering where we're at for this coming year and how that might affect that building that we're talking about. Ribbon cutting ceremony out at the brand new Southworth School. That was pretty well attended out at Yelm. And the American Legion annual Post Awards night and banquet. And I represented my seatmates at that dinner. Lake Lawrence annual Lake Management District meeting discussing lake issues. First responders potluck with seatmate Commissioner Ty Menser, who I will say does a heck of a job with his group on the banjo. So if you haven't heard him, I'm just going to say you ought to make a point. And also to the Tenino Young at Heart event to figure out a way to fund an operation for the arts down there in the theaters. All in all, pretty busy week. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Munzer?
Thank you. Yes, so the last two there with Commissioner Edwards, the first responders, had a chance to play some bluegrass music, and that was good. Attended the Young at Heart Theater event. Exciting drawings that were unveiled in terms of what the vision is for that space. Attended an event for Grub, Urban Farm in West Olympia. Had a chance to, we're going back 2 weeks, I think, because we didn't have a meeting last week. We had Board of Health training in Spokane that I attended with some of my colleagues. The thing I think Commissioner Mejia mentioned, I had the same interview with the port regarding the cleanup that they're required to do, and they want to get community input about opportunities, I think, is the idea for that effort. So I kind of learned more about that because I didn't know a lot about that before. And then with Commissioner Mejia, attended the Board of Natural Resources rally last week, and that was really well attended and got us our picture in the newspaper. And then had a chance to tour the new building over at 3000 Pacific to see how things are shaping up over there, and pretty excited about how that's going to shape up, hopefully by January, if not earlier. That's it.
Okay, thank you, sir. I guess I'll report on what I did this week. We've been having a lot of budget work sessions as the budget is starting off, and Robin walked us through last week and this week as well, and we're going to be starting in October full swing. Things that I have to report is from JASCOM. We had their animal services meeting yesterday, and the budget was not discussed, but right now they have in reserves around like $1.5 to $2 million, and they're having issues with some with the steel drain, and so what's happening is the waste from the dogs in the kennels isn't really going down, so it's kind of getting the floor wet. It's become a risk for staff and for people who come in for adoptions. And even after, they'll try to rinse the area, but then the water will just stay there. So the estimated cost to replace that kennel system is about $500,000 to $600,000. So they're looking at options on what to do, but just wanted to be aware just in case questions come up about that, because it is happening in the main adoption area where that draining system is completely unfunctional. Another thing I did want to report is that JASCOM Executive Director and City of Lacey staff met with the Thurston County Sheriff's Office, and they have established quarterly meetings, and that is to address concerns and open the lines of communication between the two offices. So I know that was one of the concerns that the Sheriff's Office had laid out, and so I was happy to hear that they've been proactive and that they've set quarterly meetings to check in to try to definitely better those services. And that is all for JASCOM. Oh, one more thing. We have opened it up after conversations on how to better serve. It was decided that we needed, of course, Councilmember Lisa partially serves on JASCOM, and she's a vet, but she serves there, and so we decided
Veterinarian.
Veterinarian. We needed someone there, also another veterinarian, to kind of, just in case her committee assignment changed next year or something like that happened where she wouldn't be available. It would be great to have a seat available with someone with that kind of experience as well. And so we have one great applicant who's going to be interviewed, and so we're going to be having another veterinarian and the JASCOM committee. So.
But Kirsten's no longer on that board. I forget her name. We had a veterinarian.
No, nope.
Okay.
So yeah, so now it's only, I forgot.
The shelter guy, yeah, Mike. Let's see.
Okay, and then after that, another thing I wanted to really report on was redistricting committee meeting. And so we met last Friday. 3 maps were proposed. We decided to push 2 maps forward, which were draft B and draft C. And there's only a minimal difference in them really, but I know that there was a preference from one of the port commissioners who preferred one option over the other, so I wanted to be respectful and have them discuss that between their own core group. But I think we received a lot of, or I received a lot of emails from different groups in the South County, Rochester area who, you know, really wanted and keyed in on that South County representative and who wanted to be with Tenino, Bucota, Rainier area, and they were asking if they could have just that one representation. And so I think the two maps that are coming forward before the board in the future kind of encompasses those comments that were requested from the public. So I know we will be discussing that in the future, but just wanted to give the two commissioners a heads up on that. And it was very good discussion. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Okay, with that, we'll move on to item 8B. The county manager will review the Board of County Commissioners schedule for the week of September 13th, 2022.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will be walking you through your combined schedule. Considering that at least two commissioners will be present, you may have individual appointments on your individual calendars. Those will not be part of my report. And I will cover the week of September 13th and the week of September 19th, considering the Board of County Commissioners meeting of September 20 has been canceled. So nothing for the remainder of the day today. Wednesday, September 14th at 7:30, you have been invited to participate on Heroes for Housing Breakfast, and that is going to be located at 4220 6th Avenue Southeast in Lacey. At 10:30, you have the opportunity to welcome new county employees. And at 12 noon, you have your standing elected officials meeting, and that will be a Zoom meeting only. Moving on to Thursday, September 15th, you will have a briefing at 9 in the morning related to the review of the trail connectivity program. And in the afternoon, from 12 to 5:30, I believe Commissioner Menser, Commissioner Edwards will be participating in the Washington State Association of Counties Timber Counties Caucus meeting. Friday, September 16th, you have been invited to participate at 8 in the morning, the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative meeting. Nothing on your combined schedule on Monday, September 19th. On Tuesday, September 20th, you will meet at least Commissioner Edwards and Commissioner Menser here at 9 in the morning for the agenda setting. Commissioner Mejia is excused for the week. Well, you will be reviewing the agenda for the following week of September 27th. And again, the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for Tuesday, September 20th at 2 in the afternoon has been canceled. Wednesday, September 21st, 9 in the morning, you have the Jail Resources Team, JRT meeting. At noon on September 21st, you have your standing meeting with your appointed directors. And at 1 in the afternoon, you have your Superior Court update. And at 2 in the afternoon, you had a briefing related to the housing and foundational public health services funding briefing. Nothing.
Can I ask a question on that? On the 21st, there's a Tenino area, the Chamber of Commerce meeting, and I believe, I know that you like to attend those, so I just.
When I can.
The reason that I didn't mention is because you will be out of the office.
And I am not going to be there for that meeting either, so.
But it's on the 21st?
Yeah.
You said there was an elected officials or a.
No, that is the appointed directors.
So I'm at the Thurston Chamber candidate.
Okay, so we'll cancel that. Thank you.
I won't be able to.
Yeah, thank you. We'll cancel that. Okay, thank you. So we'll cancel the Superior Court update as well, since we're not going to have a forum.
Yeah, it'll be at least 1:30 before I could get back.
Yep. Thank you. And again, nothing on your combined schedule on Thursday, September 22nd. So it is Friday, September 23rd. Nothing on Monday, September 26th. And then on Tuesday, September 27th, 9 in the morning, you have your regular agenda setting. 5 in the afternoon, you have a public hearing related to the Development Code docket item A27. That will be the non-conforming code update of the critical area ordinances. And at 6 in the afternoon, as we have in the current ordinance, you will have your 6 o'clock Board of County Commissioners meeting. That's all I have for you.
Thank you. Any further questions on the calendar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, with that, it is 3:16 p.m. There is no further issues. We are adjourned.